Good, everybody. We are back with another reaction video. We got the Golden State Warriors from last night's game against the Boston Celtics. I'm here with my guy Musa and Mike. Let's get it rolling.
There in Boston, temperatures today up in the 70s.
Let's get it.
What's
up, y'all?
Nice 70-degree weather in November.
We had an 80-degree weather.
That's kind of scary.
Here to the TD Garden. Holiday to
I got a lot to pick a bone with Cater, man. He looked real good last night, man.
New Rob Williams.
Yeah.
This guy just every night rock solid.
First quarter here, I think he just hit the last one, but other than Derek White, it looked like a lot of these guys were asleep to start the game.
I actually want to give credit to Golden State. I was saying in the group chat yesterday, I don't know if people realize, but so far to start the season, Golden State's transition defense is at an elite level, at elite pace. The league rating is like 123, and they was at an 86 rating, defensive rating on transition. So I want to give them credit. Steve Kerr got these boys playing on a string defensively. Andrew Wiggins is looking solid on defense. Offense is still to be seen, but given everything he's going through, still trying to get back in his rhythm, I think they'll be fine. They did a great job this first quarter, especially with the high trap points on Tatum off the pick and roll. Tatum made some great decisions early where he wasn't trying to force a shot.
That's the new Klay Thompson.
That's something that he definitely improved and added to his game. Peyton is just so great for them on that system. Curry played phenomenal too, all around, defensively, offensively, playmaking. You got the splash buddies with Buddy and Steph.
I just love the rotation moves that Mazzulla's been making too. Even though Brown is not here, Porzingis is not here, obviously, but seeing guys like Jordan Walsh is a pretty good sign. And then the same thing with
is it a concern sign that we haven't seen anything from JD Davidson? I don't know if he's hurt, but this is probably what, year 3 or 4 for him out of Alabama. I was really high on him coming out of college. As an athlete overall, but he hasn't been able to crack rotation yet.
Yeah, my thing with JD is, when he's in there, he gives it his all the time, and he plays real aggressive and stuff. But especially with the move that they just made with Peyton Pritchard, and signing guys like Sam Hauser. They even got the guy that came back from I don't know how I forget his name. The guy they got from Philadelphia,
Jaden Springer.
Yeah, Jaden Springer.
He's not gonna get much burn either, but
he's not. But he's up there before JD comes off that bench. So I mean,
for sure. I'm still bummed out about not us keeping Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, I agree.
I think considering that you're not really going to get JD much minutes, I know you're trying to stash him as another young piece that can develop, especially with the new CBA laws and us being over the luxury with all these players with the extensions. I would love to have Lonnie come off this bench as another spark, because he can do what Pritchard does as far as like a gadget guy that can get a quick 10, 12 points when they're in rhythm. He's athletic as hell, and he can show effort on defense.
Yeah, I think in a lot of matchups and a lot of games that we're going to play this season, we're going to see where we missed that small wing defender type player that has a lot of grit, that has a little bit of IQ, unselfish with the basketball, knows how to play without the basketball. So I definitely do. I definitely wish they could have made room for him. I think he would have worked out perfect.
Quetta has been really good. He got good feet for his size, great athleticism. I love what I most loved about his game last night, and from what I've been seeing, is his ability to move his feet on the perimeter. Yeah, we just seen the clip where Curry still hit that 3 on the right wing against him, but him being able to be laterally sound. I love what I see from him. I just hope he can continue to get minutes, especially with KP out. This is good for his development.
Depending on the matchup, too, you got to beware of him down in the paint. Look at what he did against Indiana. a couple games ago. That's what flipped the game around and allowed them to get back into it, to go into overtime. If they didn't have him, that game would have stayed a 20-point blowout.
My biggest concern, not concern, but my biggest thing I would like to see with him is when he goes against like Joel Embiid and the Jokic's, if he gets minutes, to see how he defends that. Because I think what you mentioned with Indiana, I could see similar opportunities against New York because they don't have a big. Well, Mitchell Robinson ain't coming back till next year, so. But he's going to have to get into game shape and things of that nature. So, I think he matches up well with Mitch anyway. Even though last year Mitch was one of the better offensive rebounders in the league. So,
Yeah,
I like what I'm seeing from him.
Little things like this. So we have JT, boxing out a man with one hand and just watching the man drive right down to the lane. Definitely got to get a hand up, help out a little bit. A lot of times last night I was seeing with JT.
You talk about that last play we just seen?
Yeah.
I hear you on that, but there's two other jerseys, right? Green jerseys there too.
Yeah,
that's
Katie
right.
started got cooked on that.
I mean, but that my thing is that's just the whole aspect of team defense, and you're not even actually boxing out on that play. You just have a hand on him. But it was a couple more times where I seen him playing that full position and kind of just ball watching, not really searching for the ball, for the rebound and stuff like that. I think he only had 4 rebounds this game.
Yeah, but enough of these Celtics. I want to give more credit to the Warriors. I love what they was doing on offense, transition like plays like those, the ball movement, the constant pick and roll, screen cuts. It's going to come up soon with Curry got that back door on I believe it was the right wing. Draymond seen him from the top of the key off ball screen. A lot of off ball screen actions. I love that Golden State was constantly putting pressure on Boston. Boston got back in and scored 41 in that third quarter. But they weathered that storm and they was able to hang on. Big game from Buddy Hield. I think the role players played well. They have one of the better benches in the league so far as point differential. So I love what I'm seeing from them. Now the question is, can they sustain it? Regardless of how the outcome came to me, nothing really changed as far as how I look at both of these teams. I still think Boston's still the best team in the NBA, at least in the East for sure. Golden State it's a great win early in the season to prove that their 5-6 game win streak isn't a fluke to some people's eyes. That was a big shot by Kuminga in that third. But they got Cleveland coming up in OKC. I just want to see if they can continue to build on it. I know Jaylen Brown wasn't there, but they still had an impressive win nonetheless. Hearing that Boston is owned by the Curry and the Warriors is
true. You can't say otherwise yet, bro.
I think it's cap because those teams are different from 2 years ago. It's not the same two teams. But now if you were to say that if they was to play Golden State and back in the Bay and they lose, okay, sure, I'll concede it.
But yeah, because as far as I know, during the regular seasons, they've been splitting for the past couple of years.
Go back to that play right there. Because I think what they was talking about in the game was very key. Look at Quetta and how he was able to get that. Right there's perfect. He set 3 screens. There goes the first one. Oh no, that was the last one. And he was able to. His action off the ball allowed him to get the easy transition, the easy bucket in the half court. That's something that's huge for us. And it's for his role on the team because it's going to earn him more minutes along with rebounding and protecting the rim. Derek White playing at an all-star level.
That was huge. That block was huge.
I gotta ask right now, who would you rather have? This not even watching this season so far. Derek White, Bradley Beal as a third option. Who would you rather have?
That's not even a question.
I mean, forget about the statistics and stuff like that. But if you talk about pure health,
I'm just talking about right now. I'm not even because obviously with how the season started, you're definitely most people would take White based on how the season's playing out so far. That's what I say. Before this, even going into this season, there goes the playoffs talking about what the backdoor cut. Even
I mean,
before the season started, who would you
as
rather
of,
have at the
as of
current
right
moment?
now, you have Derek White and in my opinion, a more efficient shooter, a way better IQ basketball player, both offensively and defensively, and just a better overall team player. And I think he's a better locker room presence, in my opinion.
Then Bradley Bill.
Yeah.
I don't really hear much bad things about him on the locker room wise.
Not yet. Not,
Offensively, IQ, I guess. White's one of the best pull-up shooters in the league since last season. But I think for me personally, I believe the gap is bigger when you compare the two defensively as it is offensively at the current stages. Obviously, peak for peak is there's no question. Bradley Bill's the better player, but
I mean, same thing like you mentioned with Kata too. Sometimes, look at White playing off of the ball. He's a very smart player when it comes to creating his own space without having the ball in his hands. That's one thing I give him tremendous credit for. He's able to set a lot of off-ball screens. He's able to make pivotal box outs to get a lot of offensive rebounds. And some things he do at a consistent basis where he's extra aggressive at certain points. Some things where I don't see Bradley Beal doing at times. Not saying that he can't, not saying that he doesn't. I would just rather Derek White because I would get that more consistent.
yeah. I mean, I think Bill plays really great off the ball. He's done it before he even was in Phoenix. He done it in Washington when him and John was the duo. And he can be a very efficient scorer. I know he had some back issues last year, so it's good to see that he's a little at least more healthier this season. But I was just curious to hear you guys' thoughts because this was a barbershop conversation we had earlier in the year, so I was curious to bring it up just to see what you guys think.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to throw out there, the rebound difference between both teams. Warriors have 53 to Boston's 46, and I definitely think that was one of the reasons how they lost this game was the rebounding matchup. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, Jason Tatum only had 4 rebounds, and I expected him to have a bit more than that. To see Derek White have 6, it's not an understatement, but I definitely expected JT to have a few more rebounds than that. But I do want to shout out the Warriors too. Like you said, just goes back to Kerr's offensive schemes and how the Warriors are able to move with the ball and without the ball. And shout out to Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield right now, I believe, has the most 3-point made field goals since the season has started, even more than the best shooter in the NBA. So he's looking pretty good over there. But again, it's still very early in the season, and we'll see how long it lasts. They got Cleveland coming up, I believe OKC too.
Yeah, Cleveland at OKC's next.
So it's definitely gonna be able to show the next couple games, but it's still gonna be early and stuff. So shout out to them.
Yeah, I just think Golden State matches up well with us anyway. At least from what we've seen in the past, without obviously when you don't add Cape Porzingis because he hasn't played yet and against between the two teams. But their lineups, they're able to have multiple defenders around Curry, multiple players that know how to spread the floor. I don't think people talk enough about Draymond Green's IQ, offensively and defensively, to allow the court to be a spread as much as it is to allow Curry to operate and others to get easy shots. When you add Kuminga coming off the bench, Looney off the bench giving you 10 rebounds, and then you have Kyle Anderson going 3 for 4 from 3. I don't see that happening often, but that was huge for them. And of course, you got one of the better 6-men on the team of the year so far. Buddy Hield giving you what he gave you 16 off the bench. So Boston, I don't think Boston got much from their bench this game.
I think Pritchard only had 16.
Pritchard had 16. Yep,
Only
Hauser was
16.
6. So you had what is it? Oh, plus over 20 off the bench. 8, 16. Yep, 24 off the bench. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a solid game overall. Shout out to the Warriors, but I think from the Celtics perspective, they were just missing some shots. Drew Holiday didn't have too good of a game, and the turnovers. They had quite a bit of turnovers in the first half. They kind of winded down a bit in the second half, but the rebounds, definitely, if they would have won that rebound game, they would have been a lot more closer, or probably worked in their favor.
One few things I wanted to point out too is I think the big turning point in that fourth quarter was when Curry hit the three at the 4:57 mark, and we talked. I know he said about Buddy Hield possibly being a sixth man of the year. I think Peyton Pritchard is right now. I don't see how you can't include him in the sixth man of the year spot. And the two big things that the Warriors are doing right now is I know Moose talked about their defense. I think their 3-point defense is the best in the league. So that's another thing. And if you take the 3-point line away from the Celtics, it's going to make their lives a lot harder. And on top of that, too, I believe Kerr is using a 12-man rotation. So if you're able to use a 12-man rotation, I believe they have a 6-1 or 7-1 record right now.
Yep,
that's scary. If you got that depth, I can't see any other team around the league having that depth. Even if you got like a good roster like the Celtics do, you're not going to have that depth. And the only other thing I got to add really is I understand. I love the way Kerr did it because even though Buddy Hield could still hit the threes, they got Kyle Anderson to hit those big threes in the middle. But why are you having Draymond Green take that three with, I believe it was like a minute 20 left? I don't care how open he is. You can't have him take that three in that spot the way he's been playing this year.
I will say, too, the biggest thing that helps the Warriors in this case, that's why I said this is impressive win, regardless of Brown being out, because they're 5-0 on the road. And when they're able to win road games, and if they could continue at a pace that they're at, they're going to lose some games, of course. But if you continue at this pace, you might get a home court advantage, potentially. But more than likely, most people see the Warriors being on a road team in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. So to have the continuity as a unit like that on the road, and as long as you got that boy 30, you always got a fighting chance. As long as you got Draymond and Curry on the court, you have a chance. They're going to keep you in games. The others has to just weather the storm. So I love what I've seen from them overall. Great win for them. Boston lost another game. I wasn't expecting them to go 82-0. They got injuries too, just like every other team. But being a champion, being a hunted, you ain't gonna get that excuse. We already didn't get that excuse last year before we got the chip, so you're not gonna get the excuse now that you're defending champs. Because you have two of your three best players out. You still got a great team and a team that's been together. You got to be able to get the job done. You would be looked at as a superior team, which I believe they were against Golden State. So,
well, like we said, it's still an early season. Still a lot of games to go. Of course, Boston and Warriors are going to have this matchup again. We appreciate y'all for being here. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and tune in for more live reactions. Peace.